the really abrasive purple filter is on, which can only mean one thing.
We're locked in the freezer again.
We're locked in the freezer again. No, it can only mean one other thing, and that's that we watched the new Ty West and Mia Goth ex-franchise picture, MaXXXine. So Aiden, what was the plot of MaXXXine?
MaXXXine is a follow-up to X. MaXXXine has moved to Hollywood in hopes of making it big as an actress. She scores a movie role, but in the 70s era, there's a lot of stuff going on with the Night Stalker going around killing people, who's an infamous real-life serial killer. And there's kind of the satanic panic of the late 70s and early 80s going on, so people are protesting the movie she's in, which is called The Puritan and is about, like, Puritans killing people because Satan, you know. And she finds herself being targeted by a serial killer who may or may not be the Night Stalker, who's going around killing women in her circle. And also her weird VHS store black guy friend. And hijinks ensue like a dog movie. Connor, what did you think of MaXXXine?
I thought MaXXXine was okay. At points it kind of got pretentious and too big for its britches. And also, of course, Ty West and Mia Goth wanted to comment on genres and things that they were a part of, or at the very least. So this whole trilogy has a theming of pornography. Even Pearl, which takes place in the early 1900s. David Corn Sweet, he's showing her motion reels of pornography, and then there's an aspect of what the price people pay for stardom. Both Pearl and MaXXXine both are trying to be stars in their own right, and the toll that takes on them. Of course, this is MaXXXine's rise to fame. As she kind of has this background of a seedy, dirty Hollywood. She's still kind of on the outs of Hollywood, which means it's the dirty, weird side of Hollywood, which is most of Hollywood, which is word hobos that ended up there, and people who tried to be famous, who failed, and then became weird hobos.
Or prostitutes.
Or porn stars, or whatever. So she's kind of kicking around these circles. People are going missing. People are dying. And she kind of has to find herself in this situation. But more important to MaXXXine than the fact that all of her friends and stuff are getting murdered is kind of her relentless urge to become a star, which was sort of instilled to her by her father, who ends up being not the Night Stalker, but the serial killer that's killing MaXXXine's friends under the guise of the Night Stalker, and kind of how religion is going to say that these things are bad, and we're going to show that they're kind of bad. And maybe religion's right, but also religion has a bunch of kooky people, so that's also bad. And everybody's getting killed, and MaXXXine is stomping dudes' testicles and stuff, and it's a weird exploitation movie that tries to dip its toes in a lot of the exploitative natures, while also trying to condemn those and glorify those, and the themes are confused because in the world of X, MaXXXine, and Pearl, everything is good and everything is bad. Nothing's gray. Everything's just really good and really bad simultaneously. There's no... Somehow he missed the gray area, and everything is really good and everything's really bad. And religion is right, but religion's also wrong. And who fucking knows what they're trying
Porn
to say.
Porn is liberating and freeing, but it also turns you into a serial killer old lady. And you have to shoot your dad in the face because he's religious.
Yeah. No, the movie's really odd. Bad. It's kind of meandering in that there's an idea of what MaXXXine is trying to do, but there's also 70 tangents going on in the background.
There's an entire
So MaXXXine wants to be a star,
this.
and there's a serial killer running around. And occasionally it's a horror movie. I think more it's supposed to emulate like 70s exploitation films, because the movie at one point boils down to a gunfight. There's scenes where you have like Jason Voorhees-esque stalker scenes. You have weird scenes where MaXXXine confronts a mugger and curb stomps his testicles.
There's an entire second movie built into this movie where she's being pursued by Kevin Bacon playing Jack Nicholson from Chinatown. And he's like a weird, grimy detective. And then that entire thing is just like a movie of its own wrapped around inside the serial killer plotline that has almost nothing to do with the rest of the movie.
I respect the kind of like seedy early 80s vibes. I think it kind of fits with like the 70s cabin pornography of X and the more seedy and even kind of the seediness of the show tune era type stuff we saw in Pearl. I understand what Ty West is trying to say when he made the same movie 3 times but in a different setting. And I think he had fun making this particular setting, and it's pretty to look at and fun, like the other 2 movies.
Yep.
And Mia Goth is occasionally really good, and occasionally really annoying and really bad.
Yep.
And I can't decide what I think about it. And Ty West's directing is occasionally really good and really bad.
For some reason.
And everything about these movies are really good and really bad. What they're trying to say is that everything's really good and really bad. And Mia Goth's acting as a result is really good and really bad. And Ty West's directing is occasionally really good and really bad. And at the end, I sit there wondering, what's my opinion? Is this movie really good or really bad? And then I go, meh, I probably will never watch it again. And also, since Redbox is closing down, I don't think I'll ever own it, which means I'll never have an excuse to watch it again. Because I'd always just buy, like, I got Pearl and X in the Redbox because they had a deal where you buy one movie, then you get $1 off another one. So I'm like, Pearl, I guess, will be my other one because it'll be like $3. So then I click it, and then it's like, well, we only have the DVD. And I was like, yeah, that's fitting, probably. So I have X and Pearl on DVD, but I guess I'll never complete the trilogy, and I'm perhaps fine with that. I don't know. I didn't really get much out of this movie. It felt like at points it was trying to be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but set in the 80s instead of the 60s, and not as good. So that was another comparison I could make. But at least it was 110 minutes, which I thought was fitting for the concept. I was kind of a little scared since he's like making a 3rd movie after like a year, and these have kind of gotten cult followings.
4th one's coming.
Oh. Well, they keep making money, and Ty West is like, I'm just glad he after X and Pearl, he had like a year and a half to cook up, or 2 years to cook up MaXXXine, and his plan wasn't to immediately go 3 hours, which is the temptation of a lot of filmmakers who start with 90-minute schlock movies that become kind of popular.
Yeah, the fucking Punisher, or not Punisher, Tormentor 2.
Torment, yeah, or is it Tormentor?
The one
the
with
fucking
the evil
clown, the evil clown one. That fucking series, the first one's like 85 minutes, and it's awful in my opinion, but
it's
you know, people like it, and it's like, okay, if you want to make another 85-minute Tormentor movie, fine. And then we go to Tormentor 2, and it's 2.5 fucking hours long. So I at least respect Ty West for not thinking that this concept that does not have 2.5 hours of wings. It definitely has, you know, compared to Tormentor, if I had to watch 2.5 hours of MaXXXine or 2.5 hours of Tormentor, I'd pick MaXXXine. But the bottom line is both should be 90 minutes, and Ty West, you know, he kept it pretty brief, even though I think it still felt a little long at points and droning. But you know what? It was fine. Aiden, what did you think of MaXXXine?
It's all over the place. I don't like how they keep shaving off Mia Goth's eyebrows for these movies. Looks fucking weird. They need to cut it out with that. I like the stuff with Kevin Bacon as Jack Nicholson in Chinatown a lot.
Yeah.
I think he's really fun and like kind of grimy and seedy, and he fits the setting better than serial killer priest father does. I really like all of that subplot, and I wouldn't have minded the movie. I would have liked the movie a lot more if that was that, like some seedy private eye dug up dirt on her and was trying to ruin her. But
I'd almost prefer, like, instead of seeing Mia Goth do the same thing for the third time, it was just a movie about, like, Kevin Bacon's character, and then, like, Maxine's just a side character, and it's like, oh, in the universe of Maxine or whatever. I mean, kind of get an update on that character, but then it doesn't really have to do with her, because Mia Goth does the same shit in all three movies.
Oh yeah, you're not wrong.
She doesn't touch on new subjects. She plays the same character in a different setting.
Hello.
And it's frustrating.
Yeah, the Kevin Bacon stuff is good. The priest father and, like, all the scenes of, like, religious people protesting is pretty whatever to me. It's all over the place thematically. It's pro-porn, it's anti-porn, it's pro-religion, it's anti-religion, it's pro-violent movies, it's anti-violent movies. At times it's pro-murder. At times it's anti-murder. It's all over the place. It's a little pretentious. I don't know. I think the setting's cool. I like the Hollywood backlots, especially when it comes to the times when Kevin Bacon is the one in them. But I just don't really care for this franchise, I think. Like, X is fine enough as the exploitation slasher thing. I thought Pearl was pretty dull. And this
Pearl was at least like a new. You're like, okay, well, you know, everybody. I guess like at least Pearl is like, okay, so this is like an unnamed villain, and then you kind of make her like some sort of universal truth of someone looking for stardom and how she kind of became this weird Puritan murderer lady.
Yeah.
And then here they also have weird Puritan murderer lady man. So.
Yeah, I mean. It's also kind of, like, a lot of this movie is just dedicated to being references to better movies. Even the Kevin Bacon stuff is just Chinatown, but there's times where they're just, like, on the Psycho set, and they're like, this is where they filmed Psycho.
Yeah.
This is where they filmed Psycho 2. And there are scenes that are obviously meant to be, like, Italian horror, with the red lights and all that. And
right.
It's an amalgamation of a bunch of better things kind of haphazardly thrown together with confused themes and ideas, and it's tied together. It looks pretty nice, and there's some moments I do like. I think, like, the final shootout, for as not very fitting as it is pretty fun. There's stuff to like here, but there's also equally as much stuff to dislike. I don't think it ever really comes together. And yeah, I guess someday we'll get to see X4, the 80s years, I guess.
Perhaps,
I don't know what to do with that, but
perhaps Ty West will be the next Dario Argento. In that the movies are actually not that good, but people like them because they look cool.
Yeah, more or less. Connor, would you recommend MaXXXine?
It's hard to, like, really. Would I personally want to watch it again? No. It wasn't the worst fucking thing ever. It was like, it was fine. It was a retread. If you really like Pearl and MaXXXine, you might like it, or you might think it's a retread. It's a lot of confused themes. I'm going to say for a general audience, though, probably not. There's some fun moments, but, like, I don't know. I was watching it, and I was like, I could be watching, like, Boogie Nights, or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the original X. I could be watching a real fucking, like, Dario Argento movie or something, Chinatown. There's, like, a lot of stuff packed into this movie that was done by a lot of people better, and I also just think, like, it's not that entertaining watching Mia Goth, who's definitely an okay actress, play the same character for the third time, directed by the same guy who made the same movie the third time, it feels like the only difference between these movies at this point is he tells set designers and the cinematographer that they're going to be doing 1980s now, and then me and Mia Goth will take the golf cart over to set when it's all put up, and she'll stare into the camera and cry or something. He really likes the fact that Mia Goth can cry on command. Like, he is so fucking, he loves that shit, and he does it either narratively, like she's actually crying, or the fact that more than once she also just cries on demand as part of a thing. It's like this man thing, like it's his muse, his weird. I mean, she's definitely Shia LaBeouf's girlfriend because she's the same person as Shia LaBeouf but girl.
His weird eyebrowless muse.
A weird fucking lady version of Shia LaBeouf who's dated him for years and just also does the same shit Shia LaBeouf does basically at this point. And you know what? I'm never gonna watch it again. So no, I don't think I would recommend it overall. I don't think it's awful, but I wouldn't recommend it. So Aiden, would you recommend MaXXXine?
I'm gonna give MaXXXine a light no.
Yeah.
I think for the most part it is not good enough. I'm tired of the Ty West Mia Goth cinematic universe. I suppose if you're a fan of the first two, this is more of that, and you'll like it. If you're just wandering in off the street to see MaXXXine, I think you could just watch any of its numerous influences and have a better time. Give me the Kevin Bacon grimy detective movie, and I will see that. Mia
Goth can make a fan-pleasing cameo in it, but no more. No more on-command crying.
We're gonna get on-demand crying the 80s years next time, and it'll be like a commentary about how sequels are bad.
It'll probably be like the early 2000s, and they'll be like watching Friends, and then a serial killer will come out or something, or maybe MaXXXine is now old and washed up, and she becomes the old serial killer lady.
Oh yeah, they can bump it ahead to like the late 90s, and it can be her daughter played by Mia Goth.
Oh yeah, and Mia Goth in old makeup playing her mom. I love how I mean, like the idea that, the idea to make Mia Goth play Pearl was so fucking stupid. Like I get it. Because she played Pearl in the original movie. Like, just stop. Mia Goth isn't that good. Ty West, you're not that good. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know how these movies keep, like... somehow Ty West conned his way to making two back-to-back, and then...
But before the second one... He just made them on the same budget and didn't tell anyone until they were made.
Oh, well... Yeah, I mean, the first two were just in, like, farm fields. This one must have been significantly more expensive, because you... have to actually make sets and whatnot.
They would film Pearl during the day and X at night, and he just made both on the same budget. And he showed up to the studio and he's like, I made two for the price of one. They're like, I guess we'll release them.
This is exactly why they probably were like, fuck yeah, let's make MaXXXine, let's get it done. But MaXXXine actually took 2 years, but I mean, I can respect that ingenuity in the filmmaking process. I mean, I don't like dislike Ty West or Mia Goth, but it's like, okay, we need you guys to
we need a
shake up here. Let's do something new. I'm fine with keep doing the X universe, keep talking about the same shit over and over again with Mia Goth. It'll probably sell for a while, but maybe, you know, take a different angle with some stuff. I don't know. Let's see something Let's see something different here. But I don't think we're getting that. Maybe Mia Goth will do like a Tilda Swinton and play like an old guy in the next one or something. Like, you know how she did that in Suspiria? Ty West could just rip that off and see if Mia Goth's got the range.
Yeah.
And then the last one will be like the fucking, you should do like the Christ comes down to rapture everybody and everyone's so happy, but then it implies that maybe Jesus is a dick or something. Anyways, see ya.